Hey, welcome back to Tammy Beauty Tutorials. Today we are doing Murder and Makeup and Mayhem. And we have a really great story today. It's not, I shouldn't say great. I mean, it's actually quite horrible. But, yeah, it's horrible. The person is horrible. Anyway, it is a interesting, horrible story about a horrible lady and her horrible boyfriend that she was obsessed with. But you know, hopefully you enjoy it, but I would get a snack because it's kind of a long one. But anyway, I already have my foundation on and everything. I just need to prime my eyes and do the complexion part, everything else but foundation and skincare. So let's get started with this horrible story on and everything. So let's start with who this is. Myra Hindley. Myra Hindley. Has anybody heard about her? Knows her? Does that ring any bells? I mean, I didn't hear about it until someone suggested this story, and I was like, yeah, I'll try it. And then when I started researching, I was like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. Anyway, so let's start in the background. Because everybody, even horrible people, have a background. They start somewhere, right? Everybody always starts somewhere. Even horrible people. Anyway. So Myra Hindley, she was born July 23rd, 1942, Manchester, England. Hindley's family was working class, and they lived in the suburbia of Manchester, England. So her father, Bob, was a laborer who served for the parachute regiment during World War II. I mean, that is really awesome that he served his country, but he was not a nice person. He was a horrible person, a horrible father. I mean, he was very abusive to Myra. He abused her every day on a regular basis. He beat her. And he taught her at a very young age how to fight. Which, I mean, I don't think that's a good thing. I mean, I don't know. That's just not a good thing. So anyway, he taught her at a very young age how to fight. And then she also had a sister named Maureen, who was born in 1946. And I think she kind of still kept in touch with Maureen. She was the younger sister. Hindley was sent to live with the grandma after her sister was born. And after she lived with her grandma, things kind of got better for her. Like, her grandma took better care of her than her dad, obviously. She also really got into the Catholic Church. She was starting to ready herself to a formal reception into the Catholic churches. That was something that she was really trying to do. And then she went to work in 1961 at Millward's merchandise small distributing firm at Manchester. Words are hard. Manchester. I said it right the first time. Like when I first started, I was going strong, doing so good with words. Then, okay. She got a job there, and that's where she met Ian Brady. Remember that name? Anyway, so she met him, and she was completely a smitten kitten with him. Head over heels in love with him. Smitten kitten. All right, she was completely infatuated with him, and after a year, she began having a love affair with him, and he moved in with her at her grandma's house with them, you know. And on their first date, I mean, he was a ladies, like, he knew how to charm the ladies. He took her to a movie about the Nuremberg trials. I mean, that is such a winner on a movie to take a date. I mean, that just screams like a great movie, doesn't it? I don't know. Anyway, it worked for Myra. Like, she was completely in love with him. Oh my god. Like, she just thought infatuated. So he was obsessed, obviously, with the Nazi philosophy and everything about that, and obviously that's why he picked the movie that he did. He would read everything about the Nazis, and that was just something that really spoke to him, I guess. I don't know. So Myra, she started changing her appearance to replicate what Ian liked. You know, anything for her man. Like, anything to make him happy, I guess. So she changed her hair to blonde, and she started wearing dark red lipstick to make Ian happy and to be with her, I guess. Like, anything that, yeah. So that was kind of the beginning. And so Brady was really, and then they started, their relationship really started getting weird, I guess you could say. They started talking about crimes that Brady wanted to commit. First, it started out as robberies. Like, oh, what would it be like, I guess, to rob a place? And she'd be like, ooh, I will learn how to drive a getaway car. So she was gonna drive the getaway car for him, and you know, that's really great, I guess. Support your man, right? Weird. So, it's just weird. I mean, I find it weird. Anybody else find that weird? I find it weird. Anyway, so she obviously didn't, because she was really into it. So they started planning robberies. She started learning how to do the getaway car. She bought 2 guns. And Brady knew that he could ask her to do anything and she would do it. He had her right where he wanted her. Like, he'd say jump, she'd go, how high, babe? How high? I'll do it. Anything for you. Love you. And he's like, yeah, okay, babe. Whatever. I love you too. Let's do this crime. And then they would also take very risque photos. Very scandalous photos, apparently. So they were just a weird couple, you know. And then one morning she wakes up and she was drugged. Like, she was like kind of drought, like, just, you know, not feeling right. And she was raped and she was beaten. Ian had taken her grandmother's pills and drugged her, and then he raped and beat her. And he also photographed it during the process. Like, look, babe, look up the photos I took of us last night. You loved it. Look, You were completely knocked out. But you loved it. But she was completely brutalized and brainwashed by him that she was okay with it. She was like, okay, babe, whatever you say, if you said I loved it, I did. Okay, I did. Whatever. Completely nuts. Completely nuts. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so then their talk of committing crimes got a little more twisted. It wasn't just, hey, let's go down to the store and just steal some money. Hey, let's commit the perfect crime. Let's kill somebody. Like, and she was like, okay, babe, I'll do anything for you. So that's where it started getting really dark and twisted. Brady wanted to kill somebody. That was his neck. He wanted to commit not just a crime, the perfect murder. And she was like, all right, anything you say, I'll do it. So she was completely so into him that she was willing to go along with whatever he said. Nuts. They were nuts. So then on July 12th, 1963, they meet their first victim, Pauline Reed. She was 16 years old. She was on her way to her first dance. She was wearing a blue party dress and white stilettos. Her parents just bought them. She's never had shoes like that before, and they were brand new shoes. She was so excited to get to wear these white stilettos. And, you know, they, just like all 16-year-olds going to a dance, they planned it out. She was going to go with her friends. They were going to have a good time. It was just going to be the night of her life, right? I mean, she was young 16-year-old girl living her best life. But then some things changed. Parents found out that the party was gonna get a little wild and crazy, and they didn't feel like 16-year-olds should go to a party that had booze. They're like, no, you guys can't go. There's gonna be alcohol. You guys are way too young to be partying at a party with booze. Sorry, guys. Nope. No. Not going. So she was gonna go by herself, and so she was in her blue party dress, white stilettos, walking, and Hindley, who used to be her babysitter, finds her, and she was walking along, you know, grabs her, coaxes her into the car, takes her out to the moors, and guess who follows behind them on a motorbike? Yep, you guessed it, Brady. Ian Brady, tagging along, ready to go. Just ready to go. And Hindley, so Brady takes Pauline, and Hindley waits by the car. Hey babe, just wait here. I'm gonna go, you know, do whatever. Just wait here. I'm gonna take Pauline. We'll be back. Be good. Don't go nowhere. Okay. Anyway, so Brady takes Pauline. He rapes, beats her, and stabs her so badly that it almost decapitates her. And then Hindley helps bury the body. Oh, you need help, babe? Okay, I'll help you. So she helps bury the body. And they buried her with her shoes and everything. And, you know, years later, when they find the bodies and everything, you can still see the label on the shoes, because they were brand new shoes. I just find that so sad. Like, this poor girl is just such a sad, it's just so sad. And then the parents, they don't find them for, it's just a horrible story. And these are horrible people. So anyway, so Brady was, you know, they were like, oh, you know, oh, they had such a good time, I guess, with what they did, you know, and they got away with it, that Brady wanted to do it again. He was like, we need to do it again. We gotta kill again. I'm so into it. We gotta get it. We gotta do it again. But Hindley had to be better prepared. She needed to, you know, get her shit together. Like, you know, because, you know, she didn't have it all together. So she needed to line her car better, pack a shovel, serrated knife in the car. She also got a black wig so she could change her appearance so people wouldn't know who she was with that blonde hair. You know, thinking ahead. But, so, then here comes the next victim. Poor Keith. So this is June 16th, 1964. He disappeared on the way to his grandmother's house. Hindley lured him by saying that she needed help carrying boxes. Hey, I need some help. I'm so fragile. I can't carry these boxes. Help me. Please help me. And he was a nice young man, and he helped her carry them. And then they took the boy out to Worthmore, the Saddle Worthmores, and Brady took Keith to the gully next to the stream, where he raped and tortured the boy. And then both of them buried the body. And this is, on each murder, Brady decided that he needed trophies. He's like, I want something to remember it by. And which that kind of became his downfall, that he wanted to keep things. Like, they're like, oh, that's became his biggest downfall, that he, you know, kept things. That was stupid on his part, I guess. You don't, you know, because that led them back to the scene of the crime and put them there. Like, that was stupid. But good for them, they caught them. But anyway, so then, of course, Brady wanted to do it again. I mean, they've killed twice, and now they're, you know, he's like, oh, we gotta do it again. You know, he's like feeling good about the whole thing. He's into it. He's ready to go. He's like, yes, yeah, you know, he's just really loving this life of hurting people. He's just a horrible person. I can't stand him. He's a piece of shit. I know I say that a lot on these things, but he really is just a piece of shit. I just really don't like him at all. I don't. Okay, so here comes poor John, 12 years old. And he worked at this store, and I probably am not saying this right, and so I don't know because I've never heard of this store. Stall holders. He worked there, you know, to earn extra money. He was a good boy, and he was just earning extra money, you know, for what things that he wanted. And Hindley shopped there because she bought her nylons there. And so they, you know, they lured him over, you know, asked if hey, do you need a lift? We'll help you out. We'll give you a ride anywhere. And then he was never seen again. And they really didn't go into details what happened to him or anything. I'm guessing it was the same as the other 2 victims so far. And anyway, poor John, poor Keith, and poor Pauline. And don't like these people. They're horrible. Okay, and now we're on to 10-year-old Leslie Ann Downing. They found her at the fair. They said, hey, can you help us? We need help carrying groceries from the car. And she's like, and they're like, please help us. And they convinced her, and she's like, okay. And so they convinced her to help, and then they grabbed her, took her to Hindley's grandma's house, and where they undressed her, gagged her, tied her up, forced her to pose for photos, and recorded her for 3 hours. No. For 13 hours, I think. Yeah, for 13. I think that's what it said. I wrote, but my writing was a little... And she begged for help. And he also took photos. And then they took photos also of them burying the body. Which is so... it's just horrible. I think you guys already know what I'm thinking. Anyway, so they took photos over her body, and then Brady also taped her final moments. So this poor girl was on video camera as she's dying, and they recorded it. And she even tried to like stop them from doing what they did to her by calling them mom and dad. She was just begging for them to like stop. And then so Hindley says that Brady strangled her, but Hindley says that Brady strangled her, but Brady says that Hindley did, and that she used a cord. But the cord, Hindley was known for carrying the cord around and flaunting it like she was, had a secret, like, I know something you guys don't know. And like she would have this cord, and she would just like, play with it and like twirl it around like and so, what's your thoughts? Did she kill Leslie, or did Brady? Like, I mean, it's kind of, I guess nobody, I don't know, I kind of think she did. Because it was up to him up to that point, but then, I don't know, I think that she did to kind of prove to him that she could do it. Because she was so in love with him and all about him that it wouldn't surprise me. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Anyway. So. Hindley went to her sister's one night, and then she was wanting to go home, but she was like, oh, it's too dark out, I need help getting home. And so her brother-in-law, who was very nice, was like, okay, yeah, I can make sure you get home okay. But he did, and things got weird when he got there. And he saw some things that he just could not unsee, and he went to the police and reported it. Which, thank goodness he did. When they got there to the grandma's house, they heard a scream, and they found Brady in a room holding a young man, and Brady let him fall to the floor and then hit him repeatedly with an axe, and then strangled him. And then Brady and Hindley just kind of joked about it, like it was no big deal. Like, oh, the poor guy died. No big, that's so funny. He had blood all over the place. It's such a mess. And then they kind of like started telling David about the other victims at the moors. Oh yeah, like, oh, we do this all the time. Like, no big deal. Like, oh, you think this is bad? You should see the other ones. They're all at the moors. So, yeah. So he was freaked out, and he went to the police. So they were brought to trial on April 27th. It's 27th, 1966. Hindley was found guilty of murder, Downey and Evans, and harboring Brady. No. And her knowing. My writing. Okay. She was found. Let me start over. Hindley was found guilty of the murders of Downey and Evans, and her knowing Brady and knowledge of Kilbridge. And they were both jailed for life. So, which I feel like, yeah, that seems pretty darn good. So then, Hindley, in 1960, she dissevered all contact with Brady. She, like, okay, we're done. Still claiming her innocence, she began a lifetime campaign to get out of jail. She's like, I'm innocent. It was all Brady. He brainwashed me. I'm innocent. I don't know if she said the brainwash, so don't quote me on that. I'm just imagining that's what she said, because she was like, I don't know. Anyway, so she wanted out. And then in 1987, she released a full confession of every murder that they did. Like, this is what happened. This is what went down. This is the real story. So after the confession, alright, I am back. I kind of had to, camera, battery, can't file issues, whatever. I'm so glad I'm recording these now. Anyway, so it was brought to trial in April 27th, 1966. Hindley was found guilty of the murders of Downey and Evans, and her knowing of the murders with Brady and knowledge of Kilbridge. Both were jailed for life, thank goodness. And then in 1970, Hindley was like, she severed all ties with Brady, and she was claiming her innocence. She was like, I'm innocent, I had nothing to do with it, blah blah blah. So anyway, she started claiming her all innocence, and she began lifetime campaigning. And 1987, she released a full confession, which she admitted all involvement of all five murders. Not just one, all of them. And so her application for parole was denied. Let me do my lipstick real quick. So no. So yeah, so she was completely denied of parole, which thank goodness, because like she is crazy. So then after she was completely denied, she died of respiratory failure November 16th, 2002. I mean, sorry, not sorry kind of thing. So she died in prison, never getting parole, never getting free. I mean, definitely where she belonged, in prison, after all the horrible things that she did to those people. Yeah, definitely where she needed to be. So, I mean, that is the horrible story of Myra Hindley and a little bit of Ian Brady. Let me know if you guys want me to do the story of Ian Brady, because I really didn't go into depth about him. I just kind of like side noted him. So if you want me to do a story about him, well, let me know in the comments below. And also, who do you want me to do next? I would like to know your thoughts on what you like to see. I love to hear. And also, this is the finished look. What do you think? Let me know. And it was so good to get on here and film, and I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas and a wonderful happy new year, and I'll see you guys in the new year. Have a good night. Bye.